possible roll days. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 48.
Hey, Clinton. Have you noticed? We play everything. Back 94.7.
Hey. Okay, this is live now on Facebook. You see, is it aimed right?
I see something. I see a window.
Yeah, well.
It's probably a good look. Wait a minute. Oh, there I am. It's me hiding.
Let me know. You can adjust that anyway. However you want, and there's the mouse in case you have to close something. So, yeah.
Oh, as far as this action needed thing?
Hey guys, I'm here. Don't worry. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we were trying to get the Facebook thing set up live on Facebook. So, yeah. Welcome, Douglas and Tucker. Okay.
Hey there.
So, say something so I can see if I got the right mics.
Okay.
All right. Here's Kerry.
You're kind of in there a little bit there. There you are.
I'm right here. There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Right where you want to be.
I've got all of them on, so one of them, you know.
Somebody's got to do something.
All right. Hello there,
Kerry,
music lovers.
Kerry Tucker, Bill Douglas, right?
That's correct.
That's right.
And have you known each other for years, or
Yes.
how did you get together?
High school.
Really?
Yeah, high
Yes, it
school. We
was.
had gym class together, I think. But Bill lived in
Tracks.
Bill lived where all my friends lived. I didn't have any cool kids that lived in my neighborhood. He lived where all the cool kids lived. So we just had mutual friends there. But I played in a band with this kid named Randy, and Randy lived over by Bill's house. So that's really where it started, because you came over to a band practice one time, and the band was actually trying to write some new material, and I am not a lyricist. So I was complaining to the other two guys about the fact that I could come up with a melody and some chords, but I couldn't rhyme anything with anything. And Bill said, well, I've got some notebooks.
How about something?
Yeah, I'll write something.
And then it was easy as that.
Yeah, so he stopped by that night and dropped off some notebooks, and I opened the first page and I saw some lyrics. And I'm like, I could probably do something with this. So that's how it started.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you were in high school when you first started?
That was probably,
Or,
yeah, maybe right between high school and college, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of in between there.
Yeah.
So it was at the point where, they were looking to do some things. And he was looking to write some songs, and because I think you had aspirations of being a 9-to-5 Nashville writer.
Yeah, I just wanted
Thought
to
that
write
was pretty
songs for a
cool.
living. Yeah, I didn't want to be a rock star or anything. I just wanted to be that guy that sat in that room and wrote that, Pat Benatar B-side and drove a nice car. And,
That's right.
That's what I wanted to
Bring
do.
in the money.
Yeah, I didn't. Neither one of us really wanted to be performers. We just wanted to write songs. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, I mean,
turned out good for you.
Yeah, we got there. I mean,
I wasn't even singing at that point. I mean, I was just kind of just, hey, I put together a few sentences, maybe we'll see what happens. So, I mean, next thing I know, it's like, Kerry's doing all the singing and stuff, and we did some demos, put together some things, we sent some things out, and I think you'd sent some tapes to some publishers that seemed that we got some nice responses, and gradually as we started doing these tapes, I think he was looking for me to get a little more involved. It's like, okay, can you do some backing vocals or something like that? I was like, well, okay, I guess so. And then the next thing I know, I was like, okay, you're singing this one.
yeah.
Like, okay, and I never done that kind of stuff. I mean, not in front of anybody, maybe
Right.
in the shower. But
That wasn't in front of anybody, I hope.
well, at least I don't know. What's that little hole? I couldn't figure out what that was. Who's in there? But so next thing I know, so he gradually got me more, doing this stuff, and it's like, hey, I like your voice. You sing more.
Thank God, man.
So like, okay. So we just kept doing these demos, and then it was at the point where we were both working, at record stores, and it was right around the time that people were, putting out their own stuff. Okay,
Right.
so, and we're both looking at all these things, and it's like, we could do this.
Yeah.
why can't we do this? You know, and so we just decided to take the plunge and put it out there. And it's like, well, we'll see what happens. You know, if 15 people buy it or whatever, then okay, that's all good. But
kind of the do-it-yourself movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, over time, we just kind of kept finding, you know, different hills to climb, you know, to see, you know, where we could go with it.
Right.
You know, and, well.
Yeah, I mean, Lynn Allen put out CDs, so we're like, well, we can put out CDs, but Lynn Allen had an audience that came and saw them.
Well, they were gigging,
they were gigging. We were just two guys in a basement, but that didn't stop us, you know. So,
no,
yeah.
you know, but, you know, gradually, after we, like I say, we, you know, wrote a few things, we got to the point where, you know, we started playing things live. And, you know, we had an opportunity to, you know, to do some opening slots for, you know, some bands, you know, at local clubs. And from there, it just all of a sudden, you know, we found this opportunity to, okay, go out and play. And it's like, all right, well, and you were more of the performer than I was, you know, so for me, it was just trying to, you know, hang on and see what I could do and what we could do. And we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, it worked, whatever it was. You know, it worked.
Oh.
It got you somewhere. How about this? In the beginning, you guys were compared to like Squeeze, you know, Crowded House,
Right.
Oasis, all those. When I first listened to your CD,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of reminded me, or it put me in a Kinks vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
I'll run with that. That's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
Love the Kinks.
Ray Davies, I mean, one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
But what was the favorite comparison that you guys ever heard?
Pick any one of those. I
Yeah.
think we're
Really?
pretty,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, thrilled to get that comparison. You know, I mean, those are heroes.
Right.
So you know, that's good company to be in.
So those are all bands that you were listening to?
Definitely.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you went through any one of our record collections, you could find any of those.
Which,
very
you know,
easily.
and those were all like, I call them like children of the Beatles. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
there
they
you
were the
go,
next
yeah.
generation of what the Beatles thing were doing. So, I mean, the Beatles definitely set the floor plan for that type of music. And then, you know, we just kind of stole all that as well. So, you know, so yeah.
Inspiration.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
call it
There
borrowing.
you go.
I think
That's
borrowing is the term we're
There you
supposed to
go.
use. Yeah. So
Check out the influence.
yeah.
When you first started out, in your minds, what was success? And was that different now than what you consider success now?
Well, like I said earlier, all we wanted to do was just sit in a room and write songs for other people.
Right.
I think the last thing we wanted to do is write songs for ourselves. If you look at the first album, it's this hodgepodge of different genres. There's like almost like a blues song and almost like not a country song, but more of like a kind of
Kind of like an all country kind
all
of
country thing.
Americana,
Yeah, there's kind
reggae.
of it's a reggae thing. It's like this, like a hodgepodge of different.
Psychedelic, like
Yeah,
Beatles, kind of
right.
like late '60s.
Right,
era,
so we
kind
just wanted to write songs. That's all we planned on doing. We met a guy named Mike Weindrich, and Mike was really the one who really pushed it to be a band. And then he became our manager, and I really thought there was no chance that we would have a band, that we would find other musicians who wanted to do this, and that if we did, that there would be an audience, that people would come and see, like pay money to see this band happen. And Mike proved me wrong, which, you know, was a good thing. Because that gave us an audience to come out and buy CDs and listen to what we
Right,
do
right.
and do whatever.
On
But
to the next thing.
yeah, to the next thing.
Yeah.
We did get a publishing deal in the late 90s, which was a different deal than we thought. We thought we were going to get a thing where we'd write for other artists and that kind of deal. Publishing deal turned out to be a TV deal. So it was a different avenue than we had set up to do, but it still was. It was still nice to be acknowledged. We got on national television spots and whatnot, and
Right.
some films or whatever. So yeah, I guess if that was our first goal of success, was to be published writers, we pulled that off.
Okay.
You know, we fooled somebody somewhere down the road, and they bought it. And like I said, we never planned on being performers by any means. needs, but that was a bonus, I guess, for us.
Well, and moving product, I mean, was again a validation too. And I mean, we were, you just when you put the stuff out there, you just don't know where it's going to go and
Right.
who's going to respond to it.
That's true.
And
ironically, the fact that we were performers is what got the publishing deal. Had we not been out there playing, the publisher would have never found this band. So it was kind of ironic that that's the way it worked out. But,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I mean, like I said, it worked for you, and it continues to work for you.
Mhm.
What was it? Pamela Anderson and
Oh, yeah, the
Tommy Lee
Hulu thing. Yeah,
And
right.
just in that, how did that come about?
That's our publisher. That's just our
Okay.
publisher. Yeah, we have a publisher in Chicago. He's been working with us since the 90s, the late 90s. Basically, what we did is he signed with us for our third record. And I noticed that when we were on a lot of like MTV shows and VH1 shows. And I noticed that what would happen is I'd have students who knew the band's music. And so they'd watch these shows and say, hey, you're going to be on Making the Video or you're on Road Rules or whatever. And I would watch these shows and I noticed that they would cut around Bill's vocal usually. So when we did the next record, we had a version of the album done where we took all the vocals out. And I submitted that to our publisher, and then he submitted that, and they went nuts with it. Because they basically had
Really?
45 minutes of just this safe pop vocal album, or pop album without any vocals in it. And that basically just was the gold mine for us.
Right.
And so ever since then we went back and remixed Learning Curves without vocals as well. So it's kind of ironic that we're known as this vocal pop band, but what pays the bills basically is all the stuff that we use in the background.
Right.
Bill co-wrote half the material, but he doesn't. I think you've been on there maybe twice. I think I've heard your voice on there. But
and the paycheck still
the
coming.
paycheck
That's
comes,
right.
So-
but I couldn't have done it without him. So
No,
I
so-
mean,
Right.
I have to do that. I have to acknowledge that.
But I mean,
as well.
it's yeah. I mean, again, it all comes back to the fact that hey, we've got a publisher. He's getting stuff out there, and he's still getting stuff out there
Yeah.
from from something that's over 20 years old.
Right. So
So-
the difference now is that the with Hulu is it's a pay situation where we're getting on these new venues with these subscription channels. In the past, we would get on, like Making the Band or whatever. We wouldn't know we were on until 8 months later. We'd get a check from ASCAP, and it's like, oh, we were on that show, I guess, or we were on this show. Now we're finding out ahead of time, which is the
They
difference.
let you know.
Yeah, they let us
That's-
know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you can't gripe about that.
no,
No.
we're pretty
It's-
lucky guys.
Well, and early on, I mean, Oprah Winfrey's network, the Oxygen Network. I mean, they bought rights, to use stuff too. So I mean, that was one of the earliest things.
that was the first one. Yeah,
that
that's
was
when
like,
we're like,
whoa,
oh man, this happened.
What's going on here?
We fooled Oprah.
Hey, Oprah buys a car.
Hey, if
We're not
Oprah
messing around now.
Oprah wants it, she can have it.
So you can have it. Yes.
So that's the new Duncan Imperial guy. That
Yeah,
is
he
publishing?
works with those guys as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he's up in Chicago. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to take a minute here to say thank you to you guys and I don't know how many other artists there were in the area that did the Playing for Peace benefit for Ukraine refugees.
Oh yeah.
That was fantastic.
70 musicians, over 70 musicians.
Well,
Right.
24 acts. I mean, but yeah, number of people in each band.
Yeah.
Dustin Cobb can't be thanked
Yeah.
enough for his efforts in doing that. Dustin, I've known Dustin since the 90s. He was the leader of Strange Neighbors with a jam band.
Oh,
and,
really? Okay.
and great band, and with a very dedicated following. Dustin, when he heard about what was going on, he immediately wanted to do something to help in any way that he could, and
Right.
so he brought all these people together, and of course, and Dave Baker from KLA helped him to to get some of the people, some of the talent involved, which is how we kind of got involved, because Dave's known us for years, and so, but to be a part of that, it was just a incredible thrill to because we all kind of feel powerless, I guess, in situations like this, with all these things going on half a world away,
Right.
and to feel like, hey, if we could do something, with what we do to try to make some kind of difference somewhere, that to me is like, okay, well, sign us up. We're ready to go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, it's heartbreaking when you watch those pictures of
Oh,
the
especially
little
today. I
kids
guess there was some
and-
stuff
and,
today that was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
Yeah.
it just
It's a horrible
wow.
situation.
And you see the bodies in the streets.
It's just
and
terrible,
like-
yeah.
And they're out trying to get food and water.
Right.
And it's like,
Survive.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So
Yeah.
I think last I checked it, Dustin raised over $6,000.
over 7.
At 7 now. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
over
so
7.
there you go.
Over
So can people still donate? to
Yes.
it?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, just it's open for a few more days, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's on Facebook. If you go to if you go to our page,
Yeah, go to Yummy Pop Tunes on Facebook, and then
Okay.
I still have things. I just posted something last night where you can still donate. So,
and
yeah.
the header will be either it'll say Einstein Sister / Douglas and Tucker,
Right.
but on the page you'll find a link to the where you can donate.
Is it RASM or?
That
Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and it's a direct Facebook donation. So
Yeah, goes right through Facebook to do.
Yeah,
It's very easy.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really easy. I donated a little bit the other night, and I was like, wow,
So did
that
I,
was it.
yeah.
It was just that
Yeah.
easy. So yeah,
Yeah.
no excuses. No
Yeah.
excuses.
Nope.
It's that easy.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's something easy everybody can do.
And those people
And it's very much
Need it.
appreciated.
They really need it.
need
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
you can get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, heartbreaking there. Bill,
Yes.
yeah, we talked about this just a little bit earlier.
Okay.
How did you connect with Over the Rhine?
Over the
Can
Rhine.
you explain that?
Yeah. Well, a good friend of mine, Tim Reed, pointed me out to these guys. Because again, you get friends. They're into music. They're, we're sharing stories about, hey, have you heard these guys? Or, we're
Right,
constantly. I mean, he and I, we do this all the time. So, and Tim, I went to college with. We're both in art majors, and so we're very much into music. And he pointed out these guys to me, and I'd heard of Over the Rhine from back when I was working retail. I had somebody had special ordered one of their albums, so I was aware of them, but I'd never really heard them. And so, but he said, hey, you got to check this album out. It's called Drunkard's Prayer, and I made it a point to listen to it. And very first cut was just amazing, and it just led me down this rabbit hole where it's like I couldn't get enough of the stuff. So fantastic band out of Ohio. So
Right.
and they tour all over the place. They tour regionally, but yeah, great. Yeah, Linford and Karen are great songwriters.
Yeah, I kind of stumbled across them one. I don't remember who it was that turned me on to them. I thought, wow, they were, everything I listened to one album and another, and I thought, wow, this is all good.
And they're
stuff.
fantastic live, and it took me a long time to get a chance to see them, but they toured through the region. They played in Cedar Rapids at CSPS. That's the first place I saw them, and it was just the two of them, and I think maybe a percussionist, and very minimal. And then they did a similar show at the Redstone Room at the River Music Experience. And again, just couldn't, just happy to see him.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. 20 minutes in already. You guys want to do a song? Or
Sure.
What do you got?
Sure.
for us?
Yeah. What do you want to do, Bill?
Well, I tell you what. Well, do we go chronologically or?
We could do that. Sure.
I don't really are no rules right to this. Okay, so this first song that we're going to do, we actually hadn't played this for a long time. We actually played it during the benefit that
Cool.
the Ukraine benefit. It's off the self-titled Einstein Sister CD.
A lot of
And-
people ask about it after we did it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Everybody thought we wrote it about Putin. So
He wasn't even. I mean, was he even in office at that point?
Yeah, he was. Well, he's doing the KGB gig probably.
Okay, so he's very covert. But anyway,
So this ties into that donation you're going to make.
There you go. That's right. Yeah,
Oh.
encore presentation.
hopefully it'll sound even better today. So anyway, this song's called "King in Name Alone." Thought he truly had it all. Kingdom at his beck and call. Ruler of all he had to survey. The trappings of his fortune and his fame. Born to a lofty position. He felt your rule was his only mission. They passed the torch and he gladly claimed. His loyal subjects had respect for his name. When the wanderlust just grew and grew, he sacrificed all that he ever knew. 'Cause he's giving up his seat on the throne. Was golden is now flesh and bone. Doomed to be a king in name alone. The greatest of his justice cast. His monarchy wasn't fit to last. He tried to conquer brave lands. Now his country's held by different hands. And when the wanderlust just grew and grew, he sacrificed all that he ever knew. 'Cause he's giving up his seat on the throne. What once was golden is now flesh and bone. It's doomed to be a king in name alone. We're hiding, said he sings. Trapped for memories of fortune and fame. He's doomed to live a life of pain. He's doomed to be a royal stain. He's doomed to be a king in name alone. Oh, 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 oh. Alone. Oh, 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 oh. And when the wanderlust just grew and grew, sacrificed all that he ever knew. 'Cause he's giving up his seat on the throne. What once was golden is now flesh and bone. He's doomed to be a king in name alone. Nowhere to hide his head in shame. Trap of memories of fortune and fame.
All right. I'm away from the microphone. Don't worry, I'm still here.
How about that? Thanks, folks.
I had that camera will click off at any certain time, so I try to restart it every once in a while so it keeps going. Thanks, guys. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Good stuff. I said it.
There you go. Twice.
Don't call.
All right, we can stick around.
Yeah. Well, that was great. Now, I understand why people would call and say, hey, did you write that about Putin or something? Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Wrote it about a friend of ours who made a bad mistake, some bad decisions.
It's where all those good songs hopefully come from. It's
write
like,
about what you know.
yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, and
I remember I was watching I came home and there was like this PBS thing on. They were talking about this king in France, and he was insane, and his sister took over, and they just put the king up on this his little throne or whatever, and they didn't let him speak, and his sister actually ran the country, and that's where the title came from. And I gave Bill the title, and I said, we should write about this guy that we know, and then Bill just went and just did his stuff, and then came back, and that's what we had. So.
I mean, that's where, again, as when you write lyrics, it's what do you write about? Where you go, and if you pay attention to what's going on around you, and you can pick up little things that kind of lead to tell a story, or some cases, sometimes it's not an outward thing, sometimes it's an inward thing, where it's like it's something going on with you. There's a lot of songwriters that do that. It's almost like self-therapy or something like that. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it always amazes me, some of the songs, you go, wow, how'd you come up with that? I was driving my truck and I hit a bump and it popped into my head. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you have people like Paul Simon, it's like, where they say, start a song, start a lyric with a factual statement and just kind of see where it goes from there, And that always resonated with me. I thought that was...
that's good.
Yeah, that's why I don't write lyrics. I feel bad today. How
bad do you feel?
I'm getting old. That's how my songs start.
I feel so bad.
We're live in the studio with Douglas and Tucker on Mac FM 94.7. It's coming to you from the Wild Rose Casino and Hotel Studio, and brought to you by the Block That Rocks, Savannah, Illinois. Got to take a little break, and we'll be right back with more from Douglas and Tucker.
These songs are played on Mac 94.7.
That sound okay then?
Mac 94.7. We play everything.
And Valley Oaks, swinging the spring rates.
Here, you could be on camera just a little bit more.
For just $25
I don't know if that...
plus tax, and weekends for $30 plus tax.
He wants to see my
Special includes unlimited gold. But hold on, seniors, we got you covered. Play 18 holes with a cart Monday through Friday.
This window keeps popping up.
Yeah, I don't know why that. It doesn't block anything, but except your view.
No, then just leave it.
So, yeah, I'd probably actually do us a favor.
LTI Loans is now in our new location at 105 6th Avenue North, Suite A, located right behind
These were
Jim's
halfway
Diner.
through already.
You will get
Wow.
the same great
Yeah,
service,
right.
same great people, but a new great location. We will
It amazes me every
service
time
all your
how fast it
at our
goes.
new
Oh, yeah.
location.
Oh,
yeah. I teach a class, and my night class is a blast,
Visit
and
us
my day class is...
Oh, yeah.
Kidding.
Or come by our new office at LTI Loans.
So do you work with Dave Baker, or?
He's upstairs. I teach guitar downstairs. Yeah. So, but I've known Dave for I worked at KLA, whatever that means.
Right.
Did a jazz show there for an hour.
Yeah, you did. Well, the jazz is in the blues are.
Jazz is a blues art, yeah.
Let's remember that one.
Licensed and insured, Hammond Concrete, serving Clinton, Fulton, and the surrounding area. Here's your forecast for the Mac 94.7
So we doing
Wild Rose Casino Weather
Shell's
Center.
time next, I guess.
Cloudy skies expected tonight with isolated thunderstorms
Yeah.
likely. Lows dip down to about 40. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 52. Lows dip down to about 36. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies. Upper 50s Tuesday and Wednesday with scattered showers possible both days. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Tremblay. Right now,
And I'm Billy Rose. You're listening to Midwest Revue on Mac FM 94.7. It's good stuff. Don't complain, gamers. It's good stuff. All right. Well, guys, I remember that song from when I first listened to the album, and I thought it was a cool song, but I didn't understand anything, what it was about or anything. But I understand totally how people can put Putin in there.
Oh, yeah.
But have you found that your old songs still resonate well today? I mean, with
well, with again with this whole process thing. I mean, we write these things, and I guess you have a mindset of what you're setting out to do or whatever, and then once it gets out, it could take on so many different it just depends on who's responding to it and what they get. I mean, there was a song we did on Learning Curves called "My Secret Life" that we had been given an opportunity to write somebody was pitching a movie, and so there was a story about a guy that was out on the up in I think Seattle area. It was he was like a kind of Robin Hood kind of a character where he lived in a tree house and he like
Really?
stole all sorts of money or whatever, and then he would do these kind acts for like people that were in need or whatever. And so there was a pitch I think at one point to do a movie, and like, hey, give a song in this, whatever. Like, okay. So we wrote this song, and so I had like I think a plot treatment or something that we worked off of, to kind of get a basis for what this story was about. Okay. And so we wrote this song, and we kind of figured, well, if anything else, I mean, at least we get a song out of it. And of course,
right.
How things develop, nothing ever happens. But we got this song out of it. So, and it's people have listened to it, and later on, and then it's like they kind of come to it with their own like interpretation of things. So
Right.
One thing, at least I'll say on the music side of things, we never tried to jump on a bandwagon. You were talking about the crowded house and squeeze thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just did. The one thing, my kind of criteria is, I was just trying to make an album that I would want to buy. That was always been my thing. It's like, would I buy this if I walked into a music store? Am I being that honest with myself? I've never tried to jump on, if funk metal's the big thing or whatever. Not that I don't like that stuff or that I don't enjoy it myself, but I always just try to stay really true to what I did. And I think that it's paying off in some respects, because what we're finding out now is that hopefully what we did didn't date very well, or that it did date well.
Right.
That it doesn't
Right.
sound like a 1998 record or a 2006 record or whatever. And because of that, I think because the TV thing has definitely kept going, that we don't sound like a 90s band or we don't sound like a 2000s band. So I think in that respect, it's paid off. We got a little, we got some criticism at the time. It's like, well, you guys are so wimpy or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like we would, because we didn't jump on bandwagon and stuff. But now I'm actually really kind of proud of the fact that we didn't get talked into this kind of stuff.
So at this point, we may actually start using drum machines and synth drums
Yeah.
and things like that,
Bill's
because
gonna freestyle
nobody's
out.
going
Yeah,
to,
right, exactly.
attribute that to, what's going on now. So, but no, I mean, exactly that. I mean, it's always been kind of, real instruments, just
Honest.
we're not chasing a
honest,
trend.
yeah.
It's just this is
Right.
again, like you said, it's like these are things that, I mean, if you got to please yourself as an artist first.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, if you're not happy with doing it, chances are somebody else is probably not going to.
They're going to see through it.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Now, have you ever written a song and thought it was one thing, and after you recorded it, turned out to be something totally different?
Like it kind of just changed somewhere in the course of.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, there's things where when I, if I started writing something, and I might have like an idea in my head of what a melody might be, so that I can actually, write the lyric. Because we challenge ourselves so that, sometimes Kerry would like put together, a melody, and it's like, okay, structurally it's, it's going to have, X amount of words in this line and X amount of words in that line. Or there might be a case where I would write like a whole bunch of lyrics and then feed it to him, and then he in turn takes it and does his thing with it. And there's been a few songs like that where it's like, I didn't imagine, this ending up like this.
Right.
So, and this next song that we're gonna do is kind of one of those examples where it's like I had a certain idea or melody in my head of where I was going with this, and then he took it and made it completely different. But it's still, it was like, oh, I never would have thought of that, and it worked,
Right.
And now I can't see it any other way. So,
Yeah, that's kind of cool that you see it your way, and then after Kerry gets a hold of it, you go, oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, luckily he doesn't tell me till after the song's written. It's like,
How did I think of that
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
yeah, I mean, it was, initially, I mean, I had a thought in my head as far as like, kind of a slow tempo, kind of a piece, and then, yep.
See, I don't see that.
He went in completely different
Yeah,
direction.
I mean, I heard Elvis Costello when I was like, the angst. on
But the
this,
funny
yeah.
thing is that that's where I was going with it too. But you picked a different.
I picked a different
You
period.
picked
of Elvis Costello.
a different,
right.
a different version of Elvis than what I.
so, yeah.
Did I ever tell
I
you?
went for
what that
young Elvis. Pre-Hollywood Elvis.
was? So,
So are we
what
gonna hear
Elvis are
that
we
now?
talking about anyway?
Can we hear that song now?
You want to hear it?
Well,
All right. Yeah. We can
actually,
do it.
here it goes.
All right. Are we doing the slow version? Or?
I don't think we're ready for that.
Okay.
I'm not sure I am.
So this is from Learning Curves. This is called Jealous Time. 2, 3.
I know you're seeing it with your powder eyes and your big big promises. If we see I'm not lying, do you vanishing act? Oh, you're in disguise, 'cause you're so transparent. I can't see a shadow through your eyes. Well, who's to see that you can't play? Let the games begin. Love at you up like a sour taste of your own medicine. Let the punishment hit the ground, 'cause this is jealous time. While you've been seeing it, I've been occupied. Another dalliance, but I'm jealousy so unkind. I have to fool myself in this wager chance to believe my redemption, only to watch it slip through my hands. Well, who's to see that you can't play? So let the games begin. I bet you up like a sour taste of your own medicine. Let the punishment fit the crime, 'cause this is jealous time. But you know eventually your filthy baggage will face the brightest day, and the fake weak massacre won't be worth the coin without we pay. Oh yeah, I know you're seeing it with your father eyes and your paper promises. Think with secrecy, I'm not blind. Well, who's to see that you can play a game that you can win? A gamble greater than the risk of losing everything. Let stupidity take my pride, 'cause this is jealous, 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 this is jealous time. Oh yeah.
All right, Douglas and Tucker live in the KMCN studio on Midwest Revue Live. That's good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Elvis, the king of new wave, not the king of rock and roll. Yeah, I can see the Elvis comparison.
Oh yeah, we're huge fans. Yeah, yeah.
But you each thought of a different type of Elvis.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking Get Happy.
I was thinking King of America.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. There we
It's
go.
the little things.
All right, there we go. Learn something new every
Now
day.
he's going to be like, which song?
Yeah.
Which song? He's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I really liked that. When you play live, like a big show,
Mhm.
do you do things different than you do like sitting here, or do you try to do it the same, or what?
Well, I mean, at the heart of it, it's this. But I mean, obviously, you get three more guys involved with it, especially, all plugged in and
that's
ready to
fair
roll.
too, yeah.
It's a whole, it's definitely, it's souped up and ready to go. So, it's quite exciting. I mean, at least from my perspective, it is. I don't know.
I think when you do a pop thing, you want to try to replicate the basic framework. You want to try to keep it the same.
Right. Right.
Not that we don't stretch a little bit here and there on some stuff, but I think people want to hear it pretty close to the album. I mean, there's this debate on guitar solos. Do you write your own guitar solo, or do you just improv and stuff? And I try to spend a little time on my solos, try to make them pretty melodic and try to make them fit the song. So I usually try to duplicate the solo a little bit closer live off of the record. But then at the end of the song, we might stretch it out a little bit and do a little fun. The one thing I always find, when you write a song and you rehearse it with the band a little bit, and then you take it in and you record it, and then when you play it live, I always think, oh, there's this little cool thing I just added. It's like, oh man, I wish I had thought about that. Like you want to play the material out a little bit more. I always tell bands that. It's like road test the material a couple of times, and you can see audiences' response that way.
Yeah.
And then you come up with these cool little tricks and things and stuff. So I always tell bands, I recommend, don't just write something and go right to the studio with it. Go
Right.
out,
Yeah,
plug with it.
that's good advice. I
Yeah.
think. You see a lot of people doing that too.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, this is a brand new album. I've heard that song, 2
Right,
years ago. But
right.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
And as the more you play it too, I mean, it's sometimes things just evolve.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially
Right.
you get the other guys involved in it too.
Right.
So it's you add little things sometimes. I mean, sometimes you play it completely just like what you hear on the record, and in other cases, things can change.
Have you guys been playing live a lot lately, or?
A little bit.
More than we thought we would, I think,
Yeah.
at this point.
I didn't know where we were really, and then we had all this pressure with the big vinyl craze to put Learning Curves out on vinyl. It was
Right.
kind of a gimmick at the time when we put it out to make it look like a piece of vinyl, because the vinyl was dead.
Yeah.
And then, what do you know, this vinyl thing came back up, and all these people were basically, hey, you should do this on vinyl. So we made kind of a big to-do out of it, and had this big gig at the RME and all this stuff. And then I was like, well, we invested all this money, we might as well get the band back together and go play a gig. And so that kind of triggered some stuff, and then that led to us, everybody's like, well, are you going to do another record? What are you going to do? And then we thought, well, let's do a single. That'd be fun.
And we had a lot of fun doing it. I
Yeah,
mean,
we had fun doing the single, and then we did
well,
some
even the
gigs.
album. I mean, we did the party for for the vinyl release. I mean, we had a blast.
Yeah, it
we
was
had an
fun.
absolute blast doing
People
it. So
came from like L.A. and New York and Texas. I mean, we had tons of people show up for this thing.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
it was fun.
I think if it hadn't been as much fun as it was, I mean, I don't know, that could have been it, but
Right.
obviously it just, hey, after all this time, we still enjoyed,
Yeah.
getting together and doing this
We all
stuff.
get along, and
Yeah, and we're all, for the most part, here, and so it's worked out pretty well, and, and ultimately it was like, well, what if we do something new,
Yeah, that's cool. I really like seeing that you're out and about again.
Yeah.
Now, you've been invited to the International Pop Overthrow.
Yeah,
in
we've done this
Chicago.
for a couple of years. The band used to do the LA one. That was a big deal. We got to play the Troubadour and the gig on Melrose, and I mean, we played some big gigs out there. David Bash, who runs the thing, is a big supporter of this band, and he has helped countless power pop bands. It's pretty much kind of like the genre of what we do.
Mhm.
We played with bands from Tokyo, Madrid, and London. And,
Israel.
Yeah, Israel. I mean, we met
England.
all kinds of geeky power pop geeks like ourselves. We thought we were the only ones, and it turns out they're all over the place.
They're all over the place.
So, so then David does this in London. He does it in Boston. He does it in Nashville. He kind of moves it around all over the United States, all over the world, really. So he's doing one in Chicago in a couple weeks. So he's invited us up again. It's just going to be me and Bill. Usually the Chicago ones we just do acoustic, and then the LA ones we used to do as the band.
So we've done the band in Chicago
Yeah,
too.
we've
Though.
done the band in
It just
Chicago,
you know,
yeah.
it just depends.
Do you know where you're playing in Chicago?
It'll be on the website. I promise.
It's
There's an international pop overthrow.
Montrose?
Facebook. It sounds like that's right.
Montrose.
Yeah, Montrose.
It's gone from
yeah.
It's going to be at one particular club, but it's going to be spread out over 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, I think we
So-
played 2 weeks from Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So
It's like the 23rd
Yeah.
of April.
Right,
So,
so-
if you go on our Facebook page, you'll see
it'll be
links
on
to
there.
it.
Yeah, Yummy Pop Tunes.
Yeah.
It sounds like fun. So, do you guys stick around and check out?
Oh yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else?
We
Oh,
meet
yeah.
tons of cool. I mean, we've met heroes at these things. Like the band played a Chicago one, and then Pat Denuzio from Smithereens showed up and was like, hey, I love your band, and we're like, you got to be kidding us, really.
He was a program director for unsigned acts. He had a program that he did on XM years ago, and so he somehow got a hold of our stuff, and he had a relative in Chicago, so he kind of made an excuse to come visit, and at the same time, hey, I'm gonna get to see these guys, because and that's the thing that I at the heart of this. They're just, a lot of these people, a lot of our heroes are just like us. I mean, they grew up obsessive about music, it got into them, and ultimately had to go out and play it, so a lot of these, like Pat, rest in peace, he was a huge music fan, and, so, it was really cool to see that we made an impression on, I mean, we couldn't believe, for us, it's just like, oh my God, because seeing these guys play live and, all the records and this and that, and then, they're fans just like we are.
Yeah.
We're just, you just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's strange.
That's cool. I was trying to think of this guy. A local guy, Gene Makel. He went by Lee Gillette on the air. He did radio. He used to work at KSTT with Spike O'Dell.
Okay, sure. Back in the day, yeah, right.
And he moved to Cleveland, and I can't remember the guy's name now. But I knew who he was. I go, what? He was the lead singer for the Raspberries.
Eric Carmen.
Yes, Eric Carmen.
Yeah.
He said he moved to Cleveland and got an apartment, and he couldn't afford it. He thought, I better put an ad, for a roommate. So he did, and Eric Carmen.
Oh, wow.
Moved in with him. It's like, wow.
Oh,
That's
man.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know who you're going to run into.
Yeah, and that we learned that in L.A. I mean, we met Doug Feiger from the Knack and Brian Wilson, and I mean, we met tons of our heroes because these guys would come to these gigs to see these bands, and it's like, I mean, I remember Bill coming upstairs with Troubadour. I was like, hey, you should go downstairs. Brian Wilson's down there, and
My reaction was a bit more starstruck.
Yeah, you were a
fully
little white.
admit. I was just like,
he was a little ghost-driven, yeah. So
just walk in.
Yeah,
just walk
so-
in. He's downstairs in the bar.
But yeah, and when you talk to David about these people, it's like he's a songwriter. He writes songs like you guys write. I was like, no, we're not like Brian. Sorry, David, that's not going to pass muster with us tonight. So but.
And he's a bigger fan than we are of that, But seriously, it was just like, wow, this is where it's, I mean, the Troubadour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where
weird.
Elton John broke into the States,
Everybody broke in there.
amongst others.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
Especially when you're going and you think, oh my God, look at. Oh,
Yeah, I know
you're breaking
the
your neck
stories.
every
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just remember at the end of the night just standing on stage and just looking at, and just thinking about the stage. Like I just wanted to cut a piece of the carpet and put it in my guitar case. This is,
Yeah, I mean the band that played after us at the time had a song that was like a theme song on like some NBC comedy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And they were, a great song, great band, and it was, God, thankfully we didn't have to follow them because they were really good.
Yeah, they were good.
They were really good, but
I got to take a break again. And we'll do this break. When we come back, we'll talk about the single.
Oh,
okay?
cool. Yeah, great.
Right.
Nice.
You're listening to Douglas and Tucker live in the KMCN studio on Midwest Revue Live, and coming to you from the Wild Rose Casino and Hotel Studio, and brought to you by the Block That Rocks Savannah, Illinois. We'll be right back with more after these messages.
94.7.
Every time that I reach up here to like hit this thing, I feel like, have you ever seen like the meme on Facebook with the two cats? One's got like the stocking cap on, and they have like the little bells that they have to hit. It's like,
Do you have to keep it?
it keeps going. It's like, I keep thinking to myself, I must be the cat. Bing! It's like, okay, put the food out. Okay, good. Like Pavlov's dog. You do it in my sleep. Oh my
Arcade
God.
graphics has expanded to 2020 Lincoln Way. They've been in business since 1991. Arcade graphics is your go-to resource for everything.
Thank you. It's fun.
design.
Great. Thanks for
Arcade
the
graphics
interview.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you guys coming
Oh,
out.
sure. No problem. Glad to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Services,
Hopefully we don't sound too braggy or anything. It was just, we love talking about
No,
this stuff.
it's,
So.
you know, the worst thing is when I get somebody in here and they, yeah, and they don't say anything. Okay.
You won't have that problem with us.
Yeah, you would be like, hey, it's 9:30, guys. You really probably should just hit the road.
Don't you have somewhere to be?
Don't you guys have families or house?
There's a soup kitchen down that way.
Oh,
To save time and hassle, you can come to Bray Lumber early, get it designed, and just like that, you're
yeah,
ready to go
the
on
single,
sale. Bray Lumber,
where did you record it?
We recorded it here, but Tim did his stuff in Georgia, and then Vinny did his stuff in New York. But we had it mixed in Rack in London. Nick mixed it there, and then he took it down the road to Abbey Road.
Digital technology.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, well, okay, the new Costello record. They recorded that all remotely.
Here's your forecast for the MAC 94.7.
You know, they weren't in the same
Wild
room,
Rose Casino
and it
by the
sounds
center.
like they were
Overcast skies
working.
tonight,
Yeah, I mean,
winds
they're working in the same studio doing this stuff.
40,
But I mean, they were like all over the place.
southeast winds 8 to 15
You know,
miles per hour.
Steve
Friday,
Naive, he's
tomorrow,
in
highs of
France.
around 52. Lows around
Costello, where the
36.
hell he is?
Tomorrow night, partly cloudy
In LA
skies.
now.
Is he on?
Turning warmer Tuesday and Wednesday.
Pizza,
with
you know.
highs in the upper
So yeah,
50s.
I mean, they're all kind of
Showers
spread
possible
out.
both
You know, I
days.
think
I'm
bass players in Nashville, maybe.
meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 46.
I'm Billy Rose. You're listening to Midwest Revue live with Douglas and Tucker in the Wild Rose Casino and Hotel Studio. Guys, I want to say thanks again for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for the
This has been
invite.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
we love
Fun for me.
talking about this stuff.
Talking about the newest single you had.
Yeah,
Now that came out last year, is that right?
put it out last year. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about it. Begin Again, right?
Right.
And the other side, or
Standing still.
I
was
keep
it.
thinking
Yeah.
about 45.
It
The
is a
other
45.
side.
It is a
Yeah, it's a
45.
45.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
actually 45. Yeah.
Right. Standing Still. And so tell us about the songs and the recording process and everything.
Well, we did that reunion thing for the Learning Curves vinyl, and as I said earlier, people kind of started asking if we were going to do something, and I didn't have it in us to do an album, and I always kind of wanted to just do a 45. So talked to Bill about it, and we agreed to do it. And I reached out to a guy named Nick Davis, who had mixed. He's done a lot of Genesis stuff, a lot of British bands.
He's been Genesis's engineer since the We Can't Dance album, so,
Yeah.
and which moved a
Really?
lot of units.
Yeah, he
so.
co-produced the record actually with
Yeah.
him and stuff. And
So.
but he did an album by XTC called Nonsuch, and that was always the album that we brought to the studio when we were like, "This is what we want to sound like," and then we'd watch the engineer laugh at us for an hour and a half, like, "Yeah, good luck with that."
Well, yeah, the engineer would, you know, they'd kind of like, hey, okay, what kind of vibe are you looking for, you know? So you take things in to kind of give a kind of a picture in their, you know, that they can kind of visualize in their head as far as sounds, you know, then they kind of try to, you know, they go after that thing. And, yeah.
So we brought in Nonsuch, and Nick mixed that album. So I figured since this is our last run possibly that I just go to the source. And I reached out to Nick. He listened to what we did and said, I like the band. I'll set something up. there was talk about us mixing it at Genesis Studio. At the time, we didn't know it, but they were doing rehearsals for a possible tour reunion, and we weren't allowed to know that. So Nick broke his arm at the time, and there was all kinds of delays. We ended up getting mixed at Rack Studios in London, which is where the Pretenders cut their stuff. Pete Townshend's done a lot of stuff there. McCartney's recorded there. Bowie's done stuff there. Nowadays, Harry Styles records all of his stuff. Adele records there. It's Radiohead did the Bends there. It's a legendary studio. So he got done with that, and then he contacted me and said, "Hey, who's mastering this?" I said, "Well, I got this guy in LA I use," and he's like, "I have a friend down the street. I'm going to run down to him. I think he might like this." And I was with another friend of mine. He says, "Isn't Abbey Road down the street?" I said, "There's no way he's taking this down Abbey Road." And then about 6 hours later, he sent me a text. He said, "Here's my friend's credentials. I think you'll be okay with this." And it was like Sgt. Pepper box set, Bob Marley, The Police, McCartney, you know, and it's like, yeah, I think I'm okay with this. So it was Miles Showell's the guy.
Legend.
And yeah, legend. He was working on the Beatles film at the time. He agreed to do our singles, so he mixed it for us, or mastered it for us. He got video of it for us, which was great.
Cool.
And I became friends with some of the staff there, which was fantastic. It's just, I got an email, I remember this like 2 Christmases ago, from one of the people that works there, and she was saying that, you know, Paul's so disappointed that the film got delayed, and I'm like, who's this Paul guy she's talking about, you know? And it's like, oh, duh, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, I get it now. Yeah, that Paul. Yeah, so yeah, it's a little surreal to be kind of rubbing emails with these folks, you know. But but yeah, the single came out. Yeah, rubbing emails, you know. So but yeah, it's been very surreal. It's been incredibly surreal. So, but it came out great. I mean, you pay these people, they get their reputations because they do the jobs that they do. They're fantastic. Yeah. And we had a little help. We had Tim Smith, who plays bass with Sheryl Crow for years, but he was in a band called Jellyfish, which was one of those bands that you probably would have listed. And then we had a guy named Vinny Zuma, who's one of my favorite guitar players. He's a session guy in LA or in New York. He played with Joe Jackson for years. And I reached out to him, and he played guitar on one of the tracks as well. So we had a little help. It was just a great experience. I'm so glad we did this. So if this is the last thing we do, we definitely went out on a high note.
Kidding.
So yeah,
for sure. Wow, and that's available where? Locally?
At
or?
Co-op, Bandcamp, iTunes.
Co-op Records in Moline.
Yeah.
Who, you know, so they've been around for like 50 years now.
Yeah, right. But if you want to buy the single comes with the 45, a download card, a CD. The singles is the actual 45. You can buy that at Bandcamp, and like Bill said, at Co-op in Moline as well.
It's also on your streaming platform.
Yeah, you can stream it. You can download it if you just want to do that.
You can't wait. You want to hear it. There you go.
Yeah.
Plus, I think I looked. They have like the instrumental versions.
Yeah, there's instrumental
So
versions.
learn
as
the lyrics,
yeah,
sing
you can
along.
sing in the shower.
There you go.
Bill won't spy on you.
No, I can't do that anymore.
That's right. That's right.
It's the ankle bracelet.
Laws.
We got time for one more song if you want to do something.
What do you want to do?
Well, do something off of the Humble Creatures album.
Do something
We
around
haven't
the
done any
Creatures.
songs off
All
of
right.
that,
So
so
do Dandelion?
we could.
Let's do Dandelion.
All right, then.
So this
Okay,
is called
good idea.
Dandelion Heart from the Humble Creatures album, as Bill just said.
There you go.
All right, here we go.
You wandering to my creek with a smile of lemon creep. Restore a show with your head to the sky. And I wonder where you have been. No man, child, and listen. I want to know, but should I even try? Go where you want to go and travel wide. Till you find the seat that pulls you into careless with you ride. So what will become of you once it pulls apart? My death-defying dandelion. lying hot. Till you don't aquamarine on the wave of a life on the sea. How high you rode with your hair is to the clouds. What could you think of me? Planted with these broken weeds. I want your gold, but you shouldn't be so proud. Go where you want to go and travel wide. Till you find the seat that moves you into careless when you fly. So what will become of you once it pulls apart? My death defying, damn lying hot. Someday, sometime there'll come a reckoning when they will try to root you down. And travel on before they're beckoning. Don't feel the wasted ground. Go where you want to go and travel wide. Till you find the seat that pulls you into careless when you glide. So what will become of you once it pulls apart? My head defying, stand lying hot. Death defying, stand lying hot. Defying, lying.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming in. You have any local gigs coming up soon, or?
Grape Life in May? I think the Grape Life in May. Again, check Yummy Pop Tunes on Facebook.
Okay.
That's
There's all sorts of stuff. If you go on Facebook and see.
this summer we're gonna be busy. So at least if
Well,
it's-
that's good.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
We like to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We like to hear that too. Yeah. So
Well, that's good. Thanks a lot again, guys, for being here. It's been fun for me. Hope it has for you too.
thank you.
And our listening audience, thank you for tuning in. I'll be back next week again at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6, and 6 to 7, let me see, Concrete Slim will be here live in the studio. And don't forget, next week, 4 till 6, like I said, and 6 to 7. So 3 more hours. Yeah. Until then, don't forget to reuse, repurpose, reduce, and recycle. I love each and every one of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Billy. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Clinton, Iowa, a Gendro broadcasting station.
So we get our stickers?
Yeah. Those
Oh,
are
that's awesome.
Oh,
Flight cases.
what size shirts do you need?
XL for me.
2X.
That's worth the trip right there. Cool. That's awesome.
That's great. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Look at that. That's great.
Oh, that's super cool.
You see it?
Oh, good stuff.
Yes.
Now I gotta take a drink when I get home.
Here, you want to save those for
Yeah, might as well.
another round? That was awesome.
And there's an XO.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. It's very cool. Awesome. I'm gonna hit the rescue one more time.
Have you had any other any of the guys doing Quad City stuff?